Good evening. It's Thursday, June 30th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm a Risen Lady Heathen. Hey, asshole. What separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
Hopefully a moat filled with AI designed crocodiles.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, mechanical crocodiles.
Yeah, no, that's the best drone
Yeah.
gators.
All right.
Oh my god.
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
I just made myself scared of gator drones.
Yeah. Hi.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning that's three unique perspectives we share, along with the facts from our literal round table. Oh, I love that. He's showing me pictures that the AI
Oh my
drew.
God.
All right. We've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. A lot of shit to cover. But first, let's dig right into our headlines. Mosquito bait.
Every once in a while, you run across this research that you look at and go, of course. Why did I not think of that
Shit.
and figure out how to study it?
Okay.
So it turns out mosquitoes are the vector for a whole bunch of bloodborne illnesses,
Yeah.
right? They land on people, fill up with blood, they move it from person to person, and so forth. Turns out some viruses can alter a person's body odor to be more attractive to mosquitoes. They can hail their cab.
Sure.
And if you'd ever thought about that, you would have asked, what could a virus do to increase its, right? And the answer is attract its vector. And turns out, yeah, it can do that. And again, that's when you can see how it happens, right? That there are variants of the virus that alter the chemistry and they're more effective, and over time they become dominant,
Yeah.
right? But what a simple goddamn idea. Oh my God, I just love it.
Well, it's the same as the ones that, make you want to go out in
Out
public.
and mix with people.
Right.
Yeah. It's the same idea.
I want to say that I had, what's the one that they call the kissing disease? Mono. So I had mono once, and before I was diagnosed,
You spread it all around?
I'd be getting fevers and that sort of stuff, but I wanted to be with people, right? I used to hate school, so when I got kicked out of school, when they found out that I had mono, I cried leaving because I wanted to stay at school. And I never liked school. I never wanted to be there. So the excuse to leave was perfect. So the fact that I got so emotionally distraught that they were sending me away from
Would tend
people.
to suggest mono had adjusted you.
Uh-huh.
I
And
love
I
it.
spent a lot of time out with my friends and stuff during the time that I didn't realize I had mono, and I
Yep.
thought it was just bronchitis or something, which isn't
Yep.
really transmittable. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Way to go.
But no, just interesting. Go
So
ahead.
you were Mono Mary for a little town in New Hampshire.
Oh no, nobody else got it.
Oh,
Again, it like you have to have
you weren't very
real
good at
close
spreading.
you have to have real close contact. Like you have to share a drink or kiss, which is why they call it the kissing disease. This
Yeah.
isn't something you can get from somebody coughing near you. This is a touch to so like literally you'd have to like cough on somebody's hand and they'd have to rub it into their eye or lick their hand. Like so it doesn't spread as easily as like the flu.
yeah.
But anyway, go ahead and melt those glaciers.
Gotta love it. Now we've talked about this before, I think.
Yes.
But scientists had announced the discovery of 33 viruses that they found in ice cores from glaciers.
Yeah.
And so a new group has found 1,000 viruses. We know that at least one of the original viruses was still capable of infecting amoeba. And what are we? We're sort of a collection of amoeba. This is not good. You go right ahead and melt those glaciers and see what the hell comes out of there. Because
I think we're going to be very sad when the old school plague makes its return.
yeah, I mean, they built up over thousands of years, so they have lots and lots of samples of stuff that you might or might not want to be infected by. And they're just in suspended animation. They don't care. They're frozen.
Oh, and there's a new group of people going around now that drink glacial water, like straight. Don't do that, folks.
Yeah.
Don't drink fucking glacial water.
And don't pay money for glacial ice. You know why they buy glacial ice? Because when you put it in a drink, it snap, crackles, and pops.
Oh, that's
It
probably
makes
not good.
noises. Yeah. What can I tell you?
Don't let them oppress you. They're not your virus supervisors.
That's true. It's not a big thing in America, so what the hell?
We don't
Do
tend to
the
have a lot
glacial
of
ice.
glaciers around here. But all right, so keep your eyes open for that. That sounds like fun. Probe Rudy Giuliani for falsely reporting a crime. That sounds more like a statement than a headline.
It's a recommendation.
It's a
And
suggestion.
I kind of like the idea of probing him. Well, not with any part of anyway.
Yikes.
What?
Then it took a turn.
What?
No, don't probe anybody. Extra not Giuliani. He'll die.
Yeah. Deliver him to the
Get
aliens.
fucking brittle bone disease.
Oh, I think
So,
go ahead.
New York Mayor Eric Adams stepped up his assertion that former Mayor Rudy Giuliani falsely reported a crime, likening the recent assault allegations to the notorious Central Park Karen who called the cops and all the other stuff. It's interesting to note that Eric Adams came out of the police department, so they might actually listen to him.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he says, just as we've done in other cases, like where the Karen incident happened in Central Park and other incidents, I think the DA should look at that when determining what the final outcome is. So the possibility that Giuliani's report is false. So anyway.
Yeah.
No,
I would go after him on that simply because of he was so much part of that system.
Yeah.
That he knows how
Who to
important
talk
it is
to.
not to press false charges.
Yeah.
And
especially not from an asshole like Giuliani.
The best joke I've heard.
no, I'm saying I would go after Giuliani because he has been so much a part of that system.
Yeah,
That
true.
he knows that a false report is that bad.
Yeah.
The best joke I've heard about this whole situation was actually by Trevor Noah, when he said, basically what he said was it wasn't, Rudy Giuliani that should be whatever. The guy who, slapped him on the back's hand is probably like Dumbledore after he barehanded a Horcrux, and I just died.
Yep.
Fair.
Oh, shit. That's bad.
He's the one that needs medical attention, was Trevor Noah's point, and it was hysterical. I died. I laughed so hard at that.
So he's
It was
accused Daniel Gill, who was the fellow who patted him on the back, of trying to knock him down.
And a competitor on American Ninja Warrior, maybe.
And we've got video that says it didn't move Rudy Giuliani. He says, he hit me to knock me down. It felt like a bullet, or as if a boulder had hit me. Anyway, investigate it.
So I watched the video several more times because obviously everybody's showing it.
Yeah.
And I actually, in watching it several times, I've come to believe that, how he kind of moves a little bit?
I think he was startled.
Jumps. I don't think that he moved because of the touch on his back. I think he was just startled because his shoulders go up, he doesn't go forward.
Yeah.
So I think that this was just a startle because somebody just randomly patted him on the back when he wasn't expecting it, and I think it went from there. So I don't even think this guy caused him to move at all.
Yep.
I think that it was just
If we
upward
investigate
startle.
this far enough, Daniel Gill has a good case for defamation against Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, yeah, with all the shit that he's been saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, push it.
Well, and if he
And
lost
anything that's
his
bad for
job,
Rudy
right?
Giuliani is good for...
Didn't he lose his job over this? He got
Oh,
fired?
probably, yeah.
So I think that if he continues and has a hard time getting a new job because of this, he could probably sue for money, for all the defamation, for all the bad things that Rudy Giuliani's been saying.
Yeah.
I would certainly advise him to talk to a lawyer.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, no, for sure. If he hasn't already, he should definitely do that. But no, just interesting. Are we ready to move on?
Oh, sure.
The media is not on our side. Duh.
So, again, if you go back over the last 10 years, right, what you see over and over and over again is that the media was busy amplifying, you know, and claiming to believe insincere pledges from a recent spate of Trump-appointed justices, right? That Roe was settled law, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's insane that the media helped so much. Many media figures and outlets, right-wing and otherwise, were quick to focus on the political spectacle of the leak of the decision rather than the effect the decision would have on Americans.
Yep.
They wanted to talk about the process because then they wouldn't be accused of, joining a team. Guys, half the media in America is Nazi at this point. And the other half, unless, you want to spend some time in prison or just get shut down, you probably want to speak up sooner or later. But we'll see.
No, I'm a firm believer that after we get everything else fixed, we should absolutely get a free press. I've read about that my whole life. It seems like an investment worth making.
Yeah.
But
and God knows we do not have one. No. Oh, just ridiculous.
No, and that's a pain in the ass because it means you have to take in more things to get a broader sense of the average and...
Yeah.
Well, and the media even admits that they made a huge mistake when Trump was running and they just played all of his stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever he was up on stage talking,
I don't think they believe that. I think they sold lots of dishwashers. So.
I think their mea culpa will be more impressive if they manage to avoid doing it the next time.
They won't.
I know.
They'll do that. Well, there are two sides to this story, and they'll keep doing the...
I don't believe we'll actually fix this. I think there's going to be blood in the streets. I think we are now finding what the actual lifespan of the fucking republic is. Or how big of, population you can govern with a republic.
I hope you're wrong.
Me too.
So.
The Kremlin cleaning up their liberals.
So a leading economic expert was detained on Thursday on embezzlement charges. Well, of course, they're embezzlement charges, right? The money just flows around and helps people, do what they need to do and so forth. But anyway, this guy was one of the government critics, right? And was not all happy about Ukraine and so forth. And so Russia's just busy cleaning them up right and left. Which is great, because these are the people who could have spoken to the West 10 years from now, and they won't be around.
Yep.
They'll just have the fucktards, and they're claiming that there's a new era of an Iron Curtain. Yeah, there is, pig fucker. There's an Iron Curtain coming down.
The Cold War was not dope for Russia.
No.
America built a lot of pools. I don't feel like Russia did.
No. So anyway, go ahead, clean up your, I absolutely think you should. Right? You need to get all the crazies in there around Putin for two reasons. One is because Russia's never coming back from this.
No,
they have lost a minimum of 15 years. And then when it's time to clean up Putin, they can get them all at one time.
Yeah.
So, hey, way to go, Russia. Really smart.
The problem for Putin is the worse this goes, the more horrible. They have to make the Russia's return to the world stage spectacular.
Yeah.
In terms of bad things they do to everyone in his concentric rings of shitheadery.
We're talking about country that's sending T-62s to Ukraine. T-62s. I figured I was going to face roughly a 50-50 ratio of T-62s and T-72s. And that was 40-something years ago. And it's amazing these things run at all. So, anyway, we're talking about being afraid of a country who's got the gross domestic product of Tennessee.
And we're not even trying.
No, we really aren't.
Because I really do think we could drone up a bunch of the things in the airplane graveyard. Get an AI to look at Top Gun or any of the other video games we raise American children on and be like, Ukrainian children, come here.
Yeah.
Who wants to play a video game? And we can tell them or not as we see fit, but...
Nothing else. You can drone up all the A-10s as kamikazes.
Exactly. There's so many ways you could... And I'm kind of annoyed we don't seem to be using this as the fun proving ground it could be, but...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see DARPA rocking death rays.
Yeah, we need a sea blockade of Russia too.
Yes.
So.
Oh no, I firmly believe that. What's his name? He just moved his shit to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
We should start vanishing fucking oligarchs' yachts.
Yep.
And I don't care if we turn the crew up like in Mexico City 3 weeks from now or whatever. Like, it's fine. Don't hurt. Do what you can to not hurt anybody.
Yeah,
but
because it's probably not their fault.
Or the other thing we can
swim in and put a limpet mine on it.
No, not hurting all the animals.
No, the limpet mine will make it sink slowly at the dock. If
the
they
oligarchs
can't get
aren't
off,
on these boats, are they? If the oligarchs are on the boats, just vanish the boats.
Yeah, okay.
And if it looks like you're not going to vanish the boat, everybody jump off the boat, and then we just vanish the boat the other way.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't really so much vanish, but...
All right. Boomer Rex's About Damn Time. Tell me the good news.
Again.
How can it be good news if you sigh like that?
Yeah, this doesn't sound like good news.
Yeah, it's good news. The Justice Department has launched a sweeping inquiry into the New York City Police Department's famed sex crimes investigations unit.
Oh.
Following years of complaints about the way they treat victims. Civil rights investigation announced Thursday and spurred by a letter last year from appalled victims will examine whether the Special Victims Unit engages in a pattern of gender-based policing.
All right, America, here's your chance to disappoint me yet again in your unfailing quest to disappoint me at every opportunity. So this would be the Law and Order SVU kids that TV taught you were all magical and the best and and actually care.
Complete bullshit.
And the backlash should cripple everybody who walked by that office more than twice. You know, career-wise or really whatever.
So anyway, survivors of sexual assault should expect effective, trauma-informed, victim-centered investigations. And they didn't get them. No. So, fuck them. Right? Let's bring them down. Let's end a bunch of careers.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
No, this should be like a who's who of who used to be, and then, that thing where they fired everyone. Like, this is one where I want you to have them all meet you at an auditorium somewhere so you can lock the doors and be like, yeah, we're searching your cars. We're also searching your houses. I mean, fuck, man.
Yeah, so their standard modus operandi, right? In 2019, a woman alleged detectives shrugged off her report of being raped by someone she'd been involved with, logging as a dispute rather than a rape.
Yep.
So, again, it's, the standard police shit.
Yeah.
No, right? And this isn't just... a New York problem. This is a everywhere problem.
Yeah.
No, the fact
that's like when Phoenix had like 17,000 unanalyzed.
Yep. You look at the backlogs and tell this is not a priority.
Not a priority. We can make it a priority.
We can do a lot of things.
Yeah. So the NYPD says it welcomes the review and is committed to improving its investigations.
No, if they didn't get so stiff-necked and fuck up when there's a bad shooting, right? There's such an easier out for their PR sides, and they can't take it because they get all shitty whenever there's a discussion about, wow, it seems like you guys go to hyperviolence fast.
Yeah.
And I get why they're reading the thing about rapid dominance out of the military's manual and 12 other things, and here's the thing, guys. First off, nearly everything the military does is against international law from the jump, but it really is might makes right.
Yeah.
The military has a institutional desire to also have some other things temper that, but it's not right. Hearts and minds is a concept the military cares about in a way that police, it can't be a thing you think about. It has to be where you start from.
Right.
Or they're not going to let you guys walk around wearing a uniform.
I don't know when it stopped being true, but when I was in the Army, the mission of the United States Army was to kill people and destroy property in the name of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Right? So this is not who we want a copy of policing our streets.
No.
So, anyway.
Well, the military believes you can degrade resistance through attrition. Right? It's one of its fundamental tenets. It has to be. That's why a group of dudes with violence in hand will work here. And not a long stream of people trading and doing diplomacy and all the other shit that's really boring and requires a lot of interesting details that most people don't have all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Dumbass of the day.
So I've got a question. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene French?
What did the lightning rod do?
She turned into a surrender monkey.
Ah, yes.
She wants us to stop sending weapons to Ukraine and just give the Ukraine to Vladimir Putin, and she slammed the Biden administration for continuing to supply. Again, just a surrender monkey. And again, that's who the current Republican Party is. And recognize that part of what she's doing is just criticizing Joe Biden for spending money on Ukraine. But the other half is she's in love with Putin. Putin's a strong man. She thinks that's wonderful. You know, Putin is Donald Trump's god. So anyway.
Yeah, he's an absolute good investment, right? Oligarchs always have been.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think it's the other way around. I think Putin saw Trump as a good investment, which is why he wanted
Trump
president.
is a good way to launder money.
Yeah.
And we could talk easily into that being an investment.
Yeah, go get all of Deutsche Bank's records and let's see what happens.
Credit Suisse, all of them, everyone involved in LIBOR. We should just death penalty one of the big banks. Should also death penalty Penn State's whichever team, literally or metaphorically. I'm fucking easy. No, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to downshift into the isolationism that the militia groups really want anyway.
Yeah.
Because first off, the world's isolationist tendencies is where the international right lives and breathes.
Oh, absolutely. That was the origin of America first in the Second World War, trying not to go to war with Hitler.
Yeah. Well, when David Duke
surrender monkeys. So, yeah. That's who they are.
Yeah, no.
Well, and you can almost always... The problem is in monogamous relationships that if it's only being compared against one person, it's always easier to be cuter than one person.
Yeah.
Right. I am impressed by Tom Cotton, several of the named Republicans' abilities to speak populist issues and absolutely not legislate anything remotely like that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Democratic leadership.
So this one's a direct quote, and I'm sorry, I should have written in the author's name.
But
the Democratic Party needs to understand that there's a whole bunch of Democrats that agree with this verbatim. And if you don't get off your fucking back, you're going to get wiped out in 2022. And after 2024, many of you are going to be tried and convicted for various federal crimes.
Yeah.
Albeit made up. But, hey.
I think the definitions will strain credulity. I don't believe they'll be made whole cloth.
Right? Oh no, there'll be a smidgen of truth in each of the charges.
It'll be insider trading. It'll be all of the business self-dealing that is just standard. But they're about to flip over the table and do shock to find out there's gambling going on.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, they're still the police.
So here we go. It's a quote. So I wasn't surprised my senator was quicker to protect Sam Alito from the candlelight vigils than he was to protect me and my family from Sam Alito. As a novelist and a woman, I'm furious and terrified that Democrats have lost the entire plot. And the American experiment is next.
Yep.
Not least because the Dems have no idea of how to tell a story. Wannabe tyrants represent only about a quarter to a third of the population. But you wouldn't know it from the behavior of the Democratic Party. Cowering, dithering Democrats accept the most ludicrous Fox News framing of every issue. From inflation to policing to abortion, perpetually stumped by right-wing mudslinging. In response to rabid authoritarianism, they hem and haw. They shuffle policy. They babble about bipartisanship and attempt to negotiate with GOP grifters who call them pedophiles. And then these same Democrats turn around and blame a handful of progressives when it's the conservatives from both parties who block and shred every scrap of legislation that might make all of our lives a little less apocalyptic. And the administration wonders why Biden's approval numbers have tanked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Democrats.
Well, vote
I'm
hard as
sorry,
weak
grow a
plan.
goddamn pair
Do something.
or resign.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, maybe
you're gonna
the-
have to play football. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and they won't get invited to the expensive parties. Oh, and they might lose some of their big money donors. Oh, if you did something for America, America might contribute to you. And yeah, I know it's harder to run a campaign with 3 million donations than with 4, but hey, you might want to try it.
Yep.
And Nancy Pelosi, wake the fuck up.
Yep.
Jesus.
Everyone
Christ.
we framed as some great political mind. Why aren't any of you taking this seriously? When every historian we ask says more and more, oh shit,
It's going to happen.
we know what this sounds like.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be coming back to this topic, a similar topic that'll lead us back to similar discussions.
Okay.
Is
later.
yours
So-
cartoon based?
My what?
Coming back to this later?
What do you mean?
We're going to
cartoon?
discuss the Tom and Jerry thing?
Oh no.
Okay, then I want to stay here for a second. No, the...
We can discuss the Tom and Jerry thing.
Okay, you want to do that when we come back to this, or you want to do that now?
Do it now.
Let's do it. Let's do it when we come back because
Okay. Fine, we're done. What's next? Health threats.
Yeah.
Um,
Wash your hands, the monkeys.
no, this one was one I didn't know. As the warmer weather and the monsoons move into the Southwest, Arizona is among the states hardest hit by West Nile virus. Now, I'd always thought this was like a New York problem. I don't think I understood that West Nile virus was a big Arizona thing. So, anyway, watch out for skeeters.
Yeah, because it's the only time you're going to get water. And
Yeah. So, go out and empty out the
Yep.
puddles. Anyway, I thought that was interesting because it was
Indeed.
a shock for me to discover Arizona is again, near the top of the states hit by West Nile virus.
Yeah.
And West Nile virus is what? I've got numbers here. Nope, I didn't copy the numbers.
Liar.
I think it's about 8% fatal. So, anyway, if you're still worried about COVID, and you probably should be.
all right.
No, man, I'm still hoping that I made an asteroid hit the Earth in 2037.
There you go.
That's why you should give us $1.
Right.
If you give us enough dollars, I'll make it stop.
Climate weirding.
So, the Supreme Court curbed the Environmental Protection Agency's options in limiting greenhouse gas emissions. So, you have the pro-climate weirding Supreme Court, but we knew they would be. Right, I mean, these are people who have no connection to reality.
Yep.
They have no connection to intellect.
Absolutely.
Their only connection is to their narrow, vicious little ideology. Fuck them. They're a kangaroo court.
For sure. No, they're absolutely the worst. I just need us to trip long enough that I can buy an anti-aircraft system.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what I need one for,
We'll
but I
find a
can't think
use.
of a thing solved with firearms that can't be solved with. Then you pointed a quad-barreled whatever at them, and
Right.
The SU-23. Yeah.
No.
and
so,
a suppressor.
Right. So, the reason why I said we'll hold off is because I want to do a discussion.
Okay.
So I've got a couple of topics to discussion. One of them is Democrats and voting Democrat. So this will actually fit into that
Yes.
discussion, but it gives us longer, more open. I don't like when we're doing headlines having
Yeah.
that hanging over like my head because I feel like until we're done the headlines, I can't, we can't really go too
Expand on
crazy. Exactly. So
some curio point of how
Right.
things ought to be.
So let's get into that.
Do it.
So I have two topics I want to cover. And I want to start with the conversation we were having last night at the end of the show. First, let me say, in this particular, like the beginning part of this, let's not interrupt each other. So if someone's talking, let's let them finish before we jump to conclusions or jump in with our own opinions. I know that normally we kind of do things a bit more loosey-goosey and talk over each other, which is fine.
Yeah, but we usually don't have a microphone that'll like cut off most of us. Before.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's
And so I can say things like, is there a conclusion in our future?
So let's be a little extra respectful to each other for just the first part of this, so that the viewers can really understand what each of us think on this particular topic. So let's discuss voting Democratic and what that means, right? So when, you say you should vote straight Democratic ticket, what do you mean by that? Because even you said last night that Republicans are putting fake Democratic people. How do you sort those out? What is your opinion on this?
Okay. So as to the fake Democrats, you have to be vaguely awake to recognize that's what they are.
Right.
Okay. There was no way any of those candidates were credible. Anybody who voted for them's a fool.
Yeah.
So one party in this country is dedicated to turning it into the Fourth Reich, and you vote straight ticket for the other party. And if you don't, you have let down America. It's that simple.
I'm sure all states have straight ticket voting.
Yeah, that's
fine. You go through and you vote
Yes.
Democratic in every race. Our state doesn't have straight ticket as far as I know. You have to go down through every one. And when you get down to the judges and so forth, you have to go look at what they've said and so on. And
what sort of rulings they've made. Yeah.
Right. And then you vote against the Republican.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And your opinion on this?
I understand the concern about. It is hard when the old Democrats say, "Well, we just got to vote harder," and we've been voting hard for a long time, and we never suit up, and we never take the field. We don't even run out to kick at the ball; they're gonna yank away, and that's hard to keep morale up amongst
I understand.
the people this is falling on the worst.
Yeah.
Right, especially when the other side knows that and is recruiting into it, right? My point of Tom Cotton's and the rest of theirs abilities to speak at length on the plights of the working class, and they never legislate for 'em, right? It was annoying when people used to make the argument that there's little difference between the parties when there was a fairly good one, and it's just as easy at this point to make an argument that the pro-business Democrats are a little different than the Republicans.
Yeah.
You still
I see us as
vote
having
straight
two
Democrat.
opportunities to
Yeah.
keep from becoming the Fourth Reich. And if you ever convince me that the Democrats really aren't interested in winning that battle,
Yeah.
I will go vote straight Republican
Yep.
in
Better get it here
2022
faster.
and 2024 because I want to watch them.
Collapse it.
I want to watch them investigated
Mm-hmm.
and charged, convicted, and perp walked.
Yeah. No, let that be the
That
last.
should be a lesson.
Well, it'll be the last conscious action the skeleton of the system has before
Yep,
it.
and you know who the other victims will be, are the rhinos.
Yeah.
Yeah, which might even be first.
Okay. So what I was trying to say last night was exactly what you're saying, except you kept trying to correct me. So what I'm going to say is that you need to vote Democratic, but you need to make sure that the person who you're voting for democratically is democratically minded and is going to push forward democratic views,
And if
because
they're
as
not?
you said, there are fake people going up saying that they are Democrats when they're actually Republican plants or whatever. And these are things we should be concerned about. Now, there's also, as you stated last night, which was part of what I was trying to point out, we have, people like Cheney. We have people like, what's his fucking stupid name? But anyway, we have people who have claimed to be Republican, who are aggressive, or who have claimed to be Democrat, who are aggressively going against democratic standards now that they are in the Senate and the House.
Well, cinema, not Cheney, then.
Cinema, yes,
And
Cinema
Munchkin.
and Munch. Yes, Cinema and Munch is who I was thinking of. Too many names in my head. It's hard to
Fair.
keep track of everybody. But anyway, but you get what I'm saying. So you can't just vote for somebody just because they're Democratic. You have to Google them. You have to search what their history is. You have to search what they're posting on their Facebooks, on their Twitters, on their whatevers. Look these people up. Don't just assume they're
So
Democratic.
when your
because it
choice
says
is between
Democratic.
voting for Manchin and
Again,
voting
you're-
for a
you-
Trumpissy, who are you going to vote for?
Yeah. I think the argument she wants is sorted in the primary, which is why I strongly support parties primaries. And yeah, it's a pain in the ass because all the Bernie supporters who were too cool for labels couldn't vote in New York because they didn't bother to learn how to vote in the state they live in, which sucks. And Democrats, get on the fucking ball.
Yeah, wake the fuck up.
So the point I'm trying to make is that you and I, Boomer, are on the same situation. We agree 100%. We agree on everything. So I don't understand why you keep trying to fight me and interrupt me on this, because I'm not wrong. You agree with me. You've said as much.
What do
When
you
your
do when it's
choice
a
is
bad
between
choice?
Manchin and a Trump pissy, who are you going to vote for?
Repeating the same argument wouldn't work. I'm probably blind. No one's ever learned anything, and why our species is about to die in a glorious wash of blood. You made the same argument twice, and it didn't work the first time. Change tack.
I want to know who she's going to vote for.
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck, Jesus, shut the fuck up.
Don't know until I know who's on the ballot and who I'm voting
Shut
for.
the fuck up. So, what's the advice you give him when it's a bad Democrat and a bad Republican?
Yeah, see, that's where it gets weird.
Vote Democrat.
Right.
No, it's not an underwriting for the thing, and here's why my point's different. Many of these people have children, and they go to high-end clubs and they buy drugs from people. Those are the people who need to explain to them that they get to live in a Mary Poppins world that can be popped with less effort than it takes to order your average thing at a drive-through window. Again, I am iffy on whether or not politics can save us from here. I'm not kidding when I advise that people should buy weapons, can food, and learn a foreign language. At least those that are willing to, work for a living and get their hands dirty, all of that, horrible euphemisms that could mean. Because that's how most people leave countries that fall down. I'm stuck. I don't get to leave here. But, the same thing I'd be telling Russians if I were Russian. If you got a better hole,
If you've got a way out, run. Yeah.
But otherwise, we'll see.
No,
Democrats have got to start fighting for shit. They've got to start doing things.
I share your concern that there is no political solution.
Well, I think returning to the 80s was a horrible mistake. Right, Biden's plan for South America is probably war crimes. But it's kind of what governments can do, right? We're going to highly support Honduras' security apparatus, even though we know, yeah. Anyone have any faith in the Honduran police or military? And think they're probably not at least some part of this problem? And I haven't looked to see exactly what the hell's going on in Honduras right now.
The way to solve the problem, and again, I assume he's trying to address the immigrant problem, is you have to encourage U.S. businesses to create jobs and income in the states that are the countries that are south of the border. But since you're not willing to encourage U.S. industries to create jobs and wealth in the U.S., it's a little hard.
Yeah, no, I think the problem for Democrats is they've for entirely too long somewhere between best and worst, relied entirely too heavy on being the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
And Obama cashed in all the hope there was and got very little yardage on it.
Yep.
And so the generic calls to vote,
not that compelling.
They're going into offensive. Right, again, it was the mistake of the fundraising typhoon. That, yes, we absolutely should have fundraised off the repeal of Roe right after we did something. Because then we could say, that's why you need to give to blah, blah, blah. So we can get the 60 votes. We need to actually do some stuff.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into this meme you wanted to discuss. So I stumbled across a meme going around on Facebook, and it says, Tom and Jerry are best friends, but Tom has pretended to hate Jerry in order to protect Jerry, so Tom's owner doesn't replace Tom with a cat that actually wants to kill Jerry. And it's been changed to are Democrats and Republicans best friends. Democrats and Republicans are best friends, but Democrats has to pretend to hate Republicans in order to profit, so the working class doesn't replace liberals with ideology that actually wants to help working class Americans. So I apologize that the wording is weird and it sounds weird when you say it doesn't flow very well, but
as long as you also get to understand that also is why the Republicans get to actually hate some people and legislate accordingly.
Yeah.
And no, there's a horrible skew in the middle of it, and we could really dissect it down and diagram some sentences and see where it loses. It's
Anybody who thinks there's any Republican ideology that's going to be good for working folks is dumb enough to vote Republican.
yeah.
no, and
And
again,
no, I no longer have any Republican friends.
But that means Democrats need to start running in every district,
Yeah.
because it's hard to blame people when there isn't a choice.
but yeah, no, in general, I don't agree with this meme because
Or
it's a
we could push
little
none of the above.
it's a little overly simplified in the sense of there are still some Democrats out there that are feeding off of the corporate teat. A lot
That's
of them, in
horrifically
fact.
skewed.
But it's not necessarily the whole group of them, which is part of you gotta pay attention to who you're voting for. And again, if you don't like the choices, fucking run. Or are you smarter than Marjorie Taylor Greene? I bet you are. Fucking run. And what's the worst case scenario? You lose, but now your name's out there. Maybe your opponent has picked up some of your, talking points or whatever to whatever. So you're getting the word out
That
there.
is at least
And maybe next time you win.
That is at least partly how the Republicans moved the Overton window.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they ran everywhere.
So, one of these things that a lot of people, need to remember is that there is always the option to just be the choice yourself. If you do not see out in the world what you want to see, fucking make it happen.
I like that solution.
Make it fucking happen. All right. So our next topic is something I've been seeing disturbingly more often as days go by, and by people who think they're helping. You're not.
Those are always the worst. Man covered in shit is the worst problem of all rhetorically inclined people.
So I'm referring to the posts about how if they are taking away abortion, they should pay more for the mother and the child and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. No one is confused. This isn't about the children. Duh. Yet these arguments make it sound like we're totally fine with it as long as the government helps, and that is aggressively not the case. We don't, the government can help all they want, okay? It does not change the fact that we need to have abortion to be legal because women and, babies in the womb die sometimes. Just like babies in the real life have SIDS and die sometimes, and nobody knows why. This happens. We need to be able to have abortions right up until the day the baby is born, in the case of the baby dying or the mother being in danger of dying herself. This is an important thing that people are just completely wiping off the board by sharing these posts about how, as long as the government's willing to pay for the child after the fact. Okay, so you have a child who cost you, let's say there was a lot of problems and it was expensive. So now you got $100,000 bill to pay for this child who died in the hospital because you couldn't get an abortion beforehand safely and, medically whatever. This is ridiculous. And we need to stop sharing this bullshit because all it does is feed the Republicans saying, see, as long as we do stuff like increase this and increase that, then everybody's happy. No.
So the whole premise of the meme is false.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of the past 40 years, the party that is dead set on making abortion illegal in all circumstances in every state in the union has done everything they can to reduce every one of those mitigating factors that you talked about. They have never once supported support for women or children or any of this.
Yes.
Right. They are not pro-family. They are not pro-child. And they're not pro-fetus.
Nope.
They just want control.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what
That's
I'm
all
saying.
they've ever wanted.
No, but that's exactly what I just said. That these people
No,
don't
but you
care.
accept it as true, their lead-in, which is false, every single line of it.
I did not accept the. I don't understand where you misunderstood me. Where did I fuck up?
The whole beginning is false.
Yeah, they don't care. That's my point. It doesn't matter. This
Okay,
is
no.
the wrong argument to have, is what I'm saying, because it doesn't matter, because it's false on its face. That's what I said.
I agree that you supported abortion. What you didn't do was point out that every single thing they said is false.
I said bullshit. No one is confused about this. That's what I said. It isn't about the children. That's what I said. So I'm not sure where you misunderstood me.
I didn't.
Okay.
So, again, every one of those things they talked about needing if you're going to have no abortions is something that the Thug Party has campaigned against and actively reduced
And now
for
have their
40
idiots
years.
posting online.
And that needs to be said, and it needs to be said in those words.
That was her point about the idiots posting that thing online. I assume. I wasn't
Peace, but you
That's
still
what I
need to
said.
point out that the front part of that, which sounds reasonable,
Yeah.
is idiocy on its face.
It's not true. None of it's true, which is exactly what I said. I said they don't care. Nobody's confused. This isn't
The
about
people who are
children.
posting that are confused. And willfully.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a good meme because the lead-in is perfectly reasonable.
Yes.
And everything after that.
It's a good meme.
Yeah.
No, and I don't even think that the lead-in is perfectly reasonable, because this is not the
sounds-
argument we need to be having.
No, it sounds it. But again, it's if you.
And
Part of the
it's
problem is I
false.
accept the fact that there are 3/3 to this argument, right? There's a left third, a right third, and a middle third who will let one side slaughter the other as long as they find the most civil way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, I think it's probably a good move that somewhere between the algorithms and the idiots are getting the idiots to post idiot things.
Well, they've always done that.
And the sad part is that a lot of my, abortion, people on Facebook are the ones that I've been seeing this type of stuff from. And for me, it's like, I understand where they get confused.
Yep.
Because the media has been saying these talking points and whatever. These are not talking points. These are not worth even mentioning. The fact that you even bring it up gives the other side an argument to say, well, see,
It's the point in Huzitz's quote about accepting the Fox News framing of the arguments.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
And yeah, the other part is they don't seem to understand that if you somehow magically manage to pretend long enough that anyone was interested in getting child support payments, to get a real infrastructure for tracking where Americans are and where their money is, it'll be used to hit you for your student loan, your medical debt, and a million other things wildly before then. Things that have lobbying associations,
Right.
where
they can get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Deadbeat.
And we'll say it
Victims
again,
of
if you
deadbeat
think
parents
any of the data
don't have
that
a
you have
lobbying
ever put on the internet is private, yeah, you're dumb.
Yeah. But no, it makes me mad when I see people trying to pretend that this is some sort of a reasonable argument when no, this is not what we need to be talking about. We need to stop pretending that anybody actually cares about the children, because as Boomer Rex so eloquently put it, this is about control. And yeah, that's what we've been saying from the very beginning. Back in the day when we were talking about fucking, sex and how it's used, it is a power play. Controlling people having sex is a power play.
Yep.
Fucking women who don't want to be fucked or fucking men that don't want to be fucked is a power play. Has nothing to do with sexual gratification, and people need to stop confusing the two. This is the same thing. This is exactly the same thing. You need to stop confusing this for them trying to do something good when they actively aren't. They know this isn't good, and that's what they want. They want people to die. They want you poor people to suffer. Because guess what? The only people this law hurts is poor people. Period. End of discussion. If you are poor, this is disproportionately, in a huge way, going to hurt you more.
That wasn't accidental. It's aimed at them.
Yes.
Okay.
I never said it was accidental. This is done on purpose, is what I've been saying. purposefully done to make you say and do stupid shit. Don't make this argument. It's false on its face. End of discussion. Stop sharing it. Stop posting it. Stop doing it.
Totally
It's
agree.
wrong. So anyway, just
I find it weird that there's only one political classification in the last, well, since humans started writing shit down, really, that didn't just want to fuck the people out of everything. Right? Classical liberals are happy to let everyone die. Classical conservatives are happy to let everyone die. Neoconservatives would like to build a machine to help all the people die.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I also support Futurama-style suicide booths. But, and neoliberals will happily let everyone die. And it was just this little period of around John Locke and all that where the modern liberals did stuff where we thought the government has a responsibility to all these poor bastards.
Yeah.
That it wants to say it's in charge of and be like, oh, hey, by the way, if you sell stuff in my marketplace, you owe me some taxes. Because I made sure you didn't get mugged to and fro, or whatever we all agree on governments do.
Yeah.
So,
No, so again, the purpose of government
yeah,
is to make the country work for all its citizens. And if you don't believe that,
get the fuck out of government.
you are filth.
Yeah. Get the
And you
fuck out of
deserve
government.
what's going to happen to you.
Right. It's going to happen to everyone is the problem.
I prefer it didn't.
Yeah, but I'm
I
just
think
saying.
we'd all prefer it didn't, but the point of the matter is it's happening
I'll
as we
pretend
speak.
for the next 6 seconds there were good Germans in Germany during World War II. It happened to them, too.
Hadn't thought of that. I probably have enough money to take my family and go.
No one does. If it collapses, I'm going to have a list.
All right.
We do a census.
No, we leave before that and watch from afar and laugh.
No.
No.
No? Okay.
No, Mad Max it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, crap.
No,
You know, roll up
we're
to somebody's house with their family used to make a sale.
All right.
It's going to get weird up in here.
all right. So don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review, smash that like button on YouTube. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight. And if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. Do not forget, if you go to patreon.com. Why are you grinning?
And if you go to YouTube, smash the like button.
I already said that.
I know
if
you
you
did.
go to patreon.com.
But it's my line. You stole it.
And you search for BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook. Or on fucking Patreon. I hate you guys.
I have
both.
entirely too
Oh
much
my-
baggage from the Americans I've known and met that to ever be in a position where that might get poured out on somebody who isn't also an American.
Yeah, okay.
Or formally. Like,
Look us up on Patreon. We're there. You can find us now. We love you all. And we will see you back here tomorrow night for our Friday night.
Bye, the
episode
internet.
Of Boomer Rex Tonight.